Hey guys, I'm back, and although it's cutting it really close to Christmas, like this is the furthest I've ever pushed a deadline, I'm gonna be sharing some insanely easy Grinchmas or Grinch-themed crafts with you that I made to decorate my house and my Christmas tree. I've been working on these for weeks amongst a bunch of other things, and I lost track of time, which is why it's so late, and I'm sorry. But the good news is they are really easy crafts, like I said, which means you still have time to slip them in to your holiday decor if you choose to. And who am I to stop you if you have that time? Not all of us do, but you might. And so this video is for you. I'm also going to be opening this small package, which was sent to me for free, and I know the items in here are going to match this theme perfectly, so I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm even more excited because today's video is a collab with one of my favorite people and absolute English bestie, Steve, from Geekguy Prentis here on YouTube and on Instagram. So once you're done crafting with me, if you're one of those lucky people who have nothing but time on your hands, or just the people who watched, make sure you head on over to his channel to see what he came up with, which I'll leave a link for in the description below. And if you enjoy yourself while you're there, make sure you let him know that by liking, subscribing, or even commenting if you feel super typey. You could let him know what you liked about his craft, because he doesn't do it very often, so I'm sure he's over the moon excited about this. And if you can't think of something, just be like, hey, Jen says hi, because clearly you don't talk to her every day, and I'm the in-between person now. Okay, we've got a lot to do, and clearly I'm starting to lose it. And the more I talk, the more I have to edit, which means the longer it takes to get it out. So I'm gonna stop, and we will switch down to the table with Jen in the past and get started by making a super easy wreath using items from the dollar store. So I've got a wire wreath form, colored tinsel, garland, and small ornaments. Initially, I wanted to make a ribbon wreath, but sadly the selection this year wasn't going to work with my idea since, I don't know why, it seems like they just go through phases. Last year there was lots of bright colors and candy, this year it's all like old-fashioned. So yeah, I'm just going with colorful tinsel. And honestly, it's really simple. I'm just wrapping it through the wire frame in and out to make it look full. And if you choose to use a cardboard cutout disc instead of a wreath frame, you'll just be wrapping it around to get the same effect. And then you can just totally decorate it with whatever you want. So I'm just gonna add ornaments all over, and because there's a wire rack here, I find it easier to cut the ribbons that hold my ornaments and then kind of tie them on. But for others, I'm gonna use hot glue to fix them in place. Then I'll add some ribbons and use my scissors to twist up the ends and make them curly, and then just keep going at it. And now I'm gonna go back to ornaments for a bit, starting with these super cute little star ornaments. But first I'm just gonna pop off all the little end caps and then use hot glue to secure them all over the wreath. And these cute little bulbs I'm adding now are actually little wine glass charms, but I feel like they're absolutely perfect for this. Oh my goodness. And this is looking really cute, but honestly there's a lot of sparkle here, so I think I'm gonna add some pipe cleaners and I'm gonna twist them together to look like little candy cane swirls to take down a bit of the shine. And I think it goes without saying, but you are not required to use ornaments. Feel free to make some decorations yourself. Just make sure to have fun. That's all that matters. And in the end, you'll have a spectacular, horribly beautiful wreath. Honestly, mine was not meant to be this shiny. It was definitely not planned, but I'm kind of digging it. It's perfectly tacky in all the right ways. Should this be my thumbnail? Probably not. Maybe. Who knows? Probably not. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Anyways, all that's left to do now is hang up your beautiful monstrosity, or hard work if you prefer. Just make sure to do it where everyone can see so they can ask you about it, of course. Like, why else do we craft? Next, I'm gonna show you how to customize dollar store stockings and make them seem like they're at least worth $5. Because I found these blinking stockings for under $2 each at the dollar store, and I fell in love with them. I feel like they really fit the theme of our Grinchmas, or at least they will once I give them my own creative spin. And I'm definitely putting some cardboard in between the stocking, that way nothing seeps through to the other side. That is my first tip for you. And I'm gonna be painting on these stockings, which I decided to do after I started hot gluing some tinsel onto the first one, but we're gonna pretend that's not there and save that step for later because you don't wanna have to paint around things that are in the way. So yeah, pretend this is a blank canvas. So I've just printed out some pictures off the internet. I've got the Grinch, I've got Cindy Lou, and I have a few others off to the side because I'm not going to make all of these in time-lapse footage. That would just take forever. And I'm getting started by cutting out the image really carefully. That way, once it's popped out, I can tape the sides back together and have a stencil for the base shape. And I'm going to use a fine-tip black marker to trace it onto the stocking. From there, I'm just going to cut away the other larger pieces so that I can use those as stencils as well. So I'm going to do the exact same steps for Cindy Lou. Just going to cut her out, trace her, then cut out the other main pieces and add those to the sketch. And once I'm happy with it and think it's time to paint, I am definitely going to blot this as much as I can with paper towel because felt doesn't absorb the liquid in the pens and it sort of just sits on top, which is not something you need once you start painting. It will just smear. So I had my colors ready off to the side and I let them sit for a bit so that some of the moisture would absorb, giving me a thicker paint. And 100% honesty here, you should definitely be doing this with fabric paint because acrylic paints really do not work very well on felt, but I'm trying to keep things cheap and easy and it's what I have on hand. And I'm going to be using a nice thick amount from the outsides of my shape and spreading it inwards in thin layers, even though that sounds like the complete opposite of what I just said. I promise it makes sense. I just want the outer sections to have good coverage near the black lines. But for everything else, I'm doing a nice thin layer and it is really hard to get everything going in the same direction. So once everything has a first coat on it, I'm gonna gently try to paint all in the same direction so you don't see little holes, essentially, of the red color poking through. And I'm just gonna carry on doing this for all of my base covers before letting it sit off to the side for a couple hours until it is dried completely. Or you can speed up the process with a hairdryer. Once it's dried completely, you can go ahead and do another layer if you feel that the color needs it or if you see that you've missed some spots, and repeating the same steps of going in thin layers and letting everything dry completely. Once everything is dry, I'm going to go back in with my marker or a pencil if the paint is thick enough and you feel safe in doing so, and lightly add in the features and other small details that I'm going to have to paint with a finer brush. And it's going to be a lot easier this time since we have a good base to start on instead of the felt. Once I've added all the little details that I want to, I'm going to leave these once again to dry off to the side. And I don't have any clear coat that could really go on to a fabric, at least I don't think so. So I'm going to leave these as is, but if you know of something that you can use to seal your hard work, I definitely recommend you do it. Just remember, this was supposed to be a quick and easy craft, and fabric paint would have been a lot better, easier to use, and most likely last a lot longer. And this is where the kids are going to take over and complete decorating and make the stockings their own. And while they work on those, I still have to make Mike's stocking. Oh, and mine too. Yeah, that's important. And I'm back with all of the completed stockings. We have Mike's, mine, my daughter's, and my son's. And as you can see, they've been completely decked out in everything from pom-poms to pipe cleaners. Actually, that's pretty much it. There's not much else going on, maybe a little tinsel. But to be honest, this already took a very long time in the sense that I needed to wait for paint to dry for various layers on various socks, especially since I only did one at a time. So, I mean, labor of love, definitely time consuming. So in the spirit of that, these look wonderful and very well decorated. Okay, hold on a second. So my son chose to decorate with some pipe cleaners, pom-poms, and tinsel. He's got little Christmas trees there with ornaments. I love it. My daughter's got twisted candy trees with some pom-pom lights and garland. And then we have the last two stockings, which you guys didn't really see me make on camera. So for mine, I have the Grinch and Max, and I just decorated with some twisted pipe cleaner candy vines or whatever, and some pom-poms and tinsel. Honestly, my heart wanted to keep decorating, but I just know that less is more, because if I kept going, it would just look like a color explosion of not niceness. And on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have Mike's very minimalistic approach to decorating. He only used a green pipe cleaner to create a border around his stocking, which honestly really does fit with the theme of this one, which is hate, 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 double hate, loathe entirely. But although it works really well, don't be confused thinking he's a genius for keeping it minimalistic, because truly he's blaming me for not giving him very much space. When in reality, he should be like, wow, Jen, those are amazing. Thank you so much for making those. I can see that it took a long time and it came from the heart. That may be a little extra, but it's who I am. Anyways, yeah, so now I'm gonna go hang these up. That way you guys can see what they look like on a thing. Ta-da! Ta-da! Aren't they perfect? Oh my god, I just love them, guys. They look so good together, but above it was a little bare, so I decided to stick my oh so glamorous, slightly too shiny wreath here. So we're done with that wall. It looks great, and now we can move on to the Christmas tree and some smaller crafts. And we can get started by making some burnt cracker 3D ornaments. And if you're wondering why I call them burnt crackers, it's because that's what they smell like once they're ready to paint. These are going to be really messy, but very fun to make and even more fun to paint. And the good news is it doesn't take very much to make them. So you're going to need to have a paper mache mix of equal parts water to flour. And I've got mine just resting in a bowl very far out of the way. It's not going to be practical, but I remembered halfway through making them that I should probably film this. So we're going to go with it. And then of course you're going to need the paper component of our paper mache. So I've got a bunch of different size strips here of paper towel. You're also going to want to have pre-made shapes cut out of a nice thick cardstock. And I like to use recycled food boxes for these, like cereal, granola bars, crackers, anything like that. And I've got mine cut into the shapes of houses. And I've got my scissors and the microwave nearby because that's how I'm going to be making these today. But if you have more time and patience than I do, you can use the oven at a low setting. But since I'm not, I don't have the proper information on how to do that for you. You're going to need to look it up. So as you can see, I've got myself some parchment paper here, and that's just to prevent any mess later on and also to allow for easy removal of my final piece. And I'm just going to take my main cardboard shape and I'm just going to wrap it in a first layer of paper towel, making sure to get the creases and make sure any indents are visible, because once this goes in the microwave after, it will puff up and we're going to lose that definition. I'm also going to make sure that I cover both the front and the back of the cardboard shape. Once the house is completely covered, which includes the sides, I'm going to stick it in the microwave for 1 minute and then let it cool before flipping it over and repeating. Once it's cooled the second time, I can start adding extra little bits like windows, doors, lines, chimneys, or anything else that I want to add a little bit more whimsy to these houses. And you can do this by ripping or having pre-cut pieces of paper towel, twisting it, blobbing it, anything you want really. And once I'm happy with how it looks, I'm going to take some more of that mixture and kind of just fill in the grooves between the new additions that I've added and the main house. This way, when it bakes up, those pieces aren't just going to fall off. And also taking care to add a little bit more, kind of like an overall paint coverage to the flat parts of the house itself. And once I'm finished, I'm going to stick it in the microwave for 1 minute, take it out, let it cool, flip it over, and put it back in for another minute. You'll notice that your piece will come out with a very distinct burnt cracker smell. All right, so here we are back in the studio where light makes sense, and I have some completed houses ready for paint. Now, unfortunately, I have made more, but I forgot that I should probably film this process, and so they're painted off to the side. We're going to pretend that never happened and carry on with these ones here. And as you can see, I clearly did not give enough paste to some sections because we do have some burnt areas, but the paint's going to cover it, so it doesn't matter. And smell that. All right, so now enjoy this speed footage of me painting these white. Honestly, this is optional. There's no real reason to do it because all of the paint will cover it as long as you put a couple coats. For me, it just kind of seems like step one, and I've been doing it for years. Although this is the first time I'm doing houses. Usually I go for an old-fashioned Santa. Regardless, I'm painting them white, and I feel like it's gonna make my colors pop. All right, so I have 5 houses that I've gone ahead and painted white, and then a few random pieces that I made just to test out. So they're like candies or something, I don't really know. Regardless, I'm sure they don't look all that stunning on camera since it's just white with some definition and more white, but once I start adding colors and making these more Whoville or Seuss inspired, they'll start coming to life. And I'm gonna be decorating these randomly as I go. There's no specific house or picture that I'm trying to replicate. My main goal here is just to add some color and whimsy. I'm really digging that word lately. So I'm just gonna paint away at all of these, and I am taking turns after I do each layer, letting them dry and such so that I can continue on. And if you choose to do something like this, know that they will crack. So if you really want to, you can start with a coat of Mod Podge and let it dry completely before painting. It's just the colors will take a lot longer to get really vibrant because they seem to go on a lot thinner over a glossy finish. And before I go, I'm just gonna outline a few things just so that when I stop in a sec and finish these off camera, you don't go, what the heck did she use? I don't want any confusion here. It's nothing fancy. It's just a fine tip black marker because I feel like I really need those cartoony coloring book type lines. I don't know why, but to me it just screams Grinch and Dr. Seuss, although it's really not even part of it. I don't know. For me, it just works. Basically, I just didn't want you to think you missed a step. So I'll be back in a minute to show you the final product. Okay, so here are my 5 completed houses. How cute are these? Oh my gosh, so colorful. I love them. I've decorated them with snow, lights, Christmas wreaths, candy canes, snowmen, even dripping icicles. I've sealed everything in Mod Podge so we've got a nice glossy finish, which does take a bit of time if you choose to outline in a pen like I do. It tends to spread, so be very careful. That was a learning process. But at the end of the day, they are absolutely stunning, and even though it took me quite a while because I kept changing my mind on colors and what things should be looking like, I am so happy with the outcome. By the way, that's why things may not be the same color as you were expecting to see based on the footage I showed you previously. I wasn't liking everything, so I changed it. That's the great thing about art. And once it dried, I hot glued some ribbon on the back. Oh, and I can't forget about this one. I painted a candy, but honestly, I hate it. The Mod Podge turned really weird and thick and creamy. I don't know what happened here. Overall, it's just not pretty, but maybe on the tree it'll look good. We can always hope. As for those 2 little swirly things that I made, I lost them. I can't find them, so I didn't even get to paint them, which means we've only got these 6 things here, which is definitely not enough to decorate a tree. So let's continue on with some easier ornaments. First up, we're going to use some cardboard to cut out oversized candy canes. And you can make these in any size, but I think oversized is more fun. First of all, it's definitely going to fill up space faster, and it's going to look more full in the end, especially if you're going for a Grinch, Dr. Seussy, over-the-top feel like we are. And these couldn't be simpler. As you see, I'm just painting them in various colors. And this is perfect for the kids to help with too. And don't forget, you are not limited to white and red stripes because there are so many candy cane flavors out there. Personally, I love the Sour Patch ones, butterscotch, and blue raspberry. One year I was really excited to try the Oreo, but it didn't really taste like much, so that's off my list now. Ooh, but I really want to try the pickle candy canes. Have any of you guys tried those? If so, and you're in Canada, tell me where I can buy them. Thanks. And once the paint's dry, boom, you're done. Next on the super easy ornament train, we have more painted cardboard, except this time we are gonna take circular discs and paint them with either swirls and then glue sticks onto the bottom and wrap them in cellophane, giving us lollipops. Or we can add squiggly stripes and wrap them in cellophane with some ribbons, giving us some wrapped candies. Once again, go crazy with the colors and don't forget to add ribbons to the back. Or use an ornament hook so you can hang it on the tree. Another super simple craft, once again perfect for the kids to help with, is to save your toilet paper or paper towel rolls and make 3D candies from them. And you have 2 options here. You can either wrap them in colored paper and then cellophane with some ribbons on the side, and then of course one to hang them. Or you can paint them, let them dry, and then wrap them in cellophane with some ribbons on the side. 100% up to you. And in case you don't really feel like painting or gluing, you could also print off a free Grinch ornaments sheet from online and color them in. Next, I'm just going to take my glue stick, apply it all over the back, and stick it down onto cardstock. We chose to tapenate ours with packing tape, so that's just covering them on both sides before cutting them out. That way they last a little longer. Then added some twisted colorful pipe cleaners so we could hang them on the tree and sort of tie them into the look of our wreath. But you could just as easily use ribbons or ornament hooks if you prefer. Speaking of super simple printout crafts, next I'm gonna create some little standees using Whoville building printouts that I got online. But I want them to be a little bit larger than one piece of paper. So I've printed each image out over 2 pages. So I've got a bunch of them ready and I can start building. First things first, cut out your pieces. I find it easier to start with just the one side and then trim off one of the blank sections, add a little bit of glue to the remaining one that's now a tab essentially, and piece it together. And then just cut out the rest of the house, like this. Now I'm just gonna cover the entire thing with glue. I'm choosing the glue stick here because in previous years, everything went super wrinkly when I went with Mod Podge, but you do you. And once it's all covered, just turn it over and stick it down on your cardboard or foam board. And once your glue is set, you can trim off the excess cardboard. And technically you're done. But if you don't really think that this is enough to bring some much needed Whoville Christmas spirit to your holiday, then go ahead and make yourself a few more. And don't be afraid to take a black marker and outline your pictures if you're finding them a bit faded or blurry. I think taking that extra time really makes them pop. And then all you gotta do is attach another piece of cardboard to the back so that they can stand up. And I'm gonna set these up underneath my Christmas tree until the presents start to take over, but you could just as easily skip the little cardboard stand at the back and add some ribbon instead if you'd prefer to hang them on the wall. And here's what all of our hard work looks like after we finish decorating the tree. All those amazing candy canes, lollipops, and twisted candies we made, even though they were super simple, they look just as good as my burnt cracker 3D ornaments. Oh my gosh. Ugh, I just love this tree so much. The chaos is just pure heaven to me right now. And let's not forget, I've got my little Who village underneath, which sadly will be needing to move soon since, you know, I make a lot of stuff and presents will need to sit here. But in the meantime, it's all just coming together. I could stare at this all day, but obviously that would take far too long, so let's just get one more look and bye-bye tree. Honestly, there's so many more things that I wanted to make, but I obviously ran out of time for filming and editing, so sadly this is where we're gonna call it. But I can definitely fill this year's Bebuts Hot Cocoa with you guys before I go. So I've got one here and one on the floor, and this year I pre-made them instead of filming it because I just don't have enough space. My studio is also gift wrapping central lately, which I don't even know what words just came out of my mouth, but basically there was no space, okay? Even if I had wanted to film it. Way to go, Jen. But I do have at least 3 other videos about the Bebuts Hot Cocos, and one of them definitely shows the process of how to make it. So I'll be sure to leave a link to those in the description below in case you want to check them out, but as I said, it's kind of cutting it close, so you might not have time. And the ones I have today are actually the exact same ones I've been using for years. I just took off last year's paper very carefully, wrapped a couple presents in it, winning! And then I added a nice Grinchy green to match this year's theme. And I saved the logo from last year's cup so I could reuse it too, except I added a nice little Grinchy hat there. This was the cutout from the first stocking that I made. Look, double use. So I'll just put that over there for now, and we can start filling. First things first, we have pajamas. Of course, everybody's getting Grinch themed stuff. My daughter has a teal shirt that says, "In a world of Grinches, be a Cindy Lou Who." Then we've got some bottoms to match. My son's got a basic Grinchmas shirt with the Grinch. It even says Grinch in one of the ornaments, with some fuzzy matching bottoms. I'm currently wearing my PJ shirt, and these are the bottoms. I just pieced it together. They don't actually match. And I couldn't find a shirt for Mike because sadly numbers are getting pretty high here and I don't want to go out anymore. But I do have some nice fuzzy Grinch bottoms for him, and I'll just pair it with a green t-shirt or something. And unfortunately, I can't put it in our cup yet because I haven't rewrapped it. So just know that we're getting kind of the same stuff as the kids, okay? Just pretend it's going somewhere. I don't know where the second one went, but both me and my daughter have one of these super cute little Christmas headbands that I got from Dollar Tree, and the plan is to leave some pom-poms and pipe cleaners and stuff out on Christmas Eve so we can decorate them and make them a little horrific. So I'll put one in her cup, and I'll just leave the other one off to the side for when my cup's ready. Next, I've got these really cool ornament bulb cups with straws. I don't even know if you can call it cups anymore at this point, but basically they're really thick glass that's colored and shaped like an ornament. And these were only $2 a piece. So I grabbed 2 red ones, which have silver tops and red and white straws, and 2 greens, which have golden tops with twisted green and white straws. So everybody is gonna get one of those. And the funniest thing is I saw these back in November at the dollar store, and I was like, wow, those are really cool. And they'd go great with my Grinchmas themed Christmas. But I was in a rush that day, so I didn't have time to make sure that all of them looked good with no cracks or anything, so I just left them. And then of course, once I decided I wanted them, they weren't available. And it turns out it's because on Facebook Marketplace, a lot of people thought they were just as cool as I did and had started buying them up so that they could sell them with custom names or wording on them. No hate towards them, make money where you can, but it was super unhelpful when I had to spend an entire month and a half trying to locate 2 reds, 2 greens. But it obviously ended up working out in my favor because I have a full set now, and that means we can move on to the next item, which are Wacky Package Minis. If you haven't seen these before, they are super cute little miniature parody products, essentially. And that, to me, means it's perfect for a Grinch-themed little gift because the Grinch isn't necessarily a prankster, but to me it fits. I might be reaching here, but too bad. I was really excited to find these finally in Canada at Toys R Us, I think for about $6.99 a piece, so each kid gets one. Speaking of reaching and trying to make things work, I also picked up these super cute little Dr. Seuss books at Dollar Tree, and they are adorable. They're doll scale, so this is perfect for my daughter to pose her dolls with, and they're not Grinch, but they are Dr. Seuss, so therefore it works. and my kid is gonna freak when she sees them because she loves posing dolls. I don't know where she gets that. Maybe Mike. We have books. My son is getting Fire and Hemlock, and my daughter's getting The Fault in Our Stars. All right, so next up I would usually be putting in hot chocolate, which I forgot to bring downstairs, but I mean, it's hot chocolate. We know all about that. So if you want to see different ways I've packaged it in previous years, once again, the links will be in the description to all of those videos, but let's just pretend that's in. And I'd also be putting in popcorn and a movie, but I don't need to because this year I'm going to be using my nice fancy hot popcorn maker. That's not what it's called. My nice fancy theater style popcorn maker, which I've wanted for years and finally have because my sister gave me a gift card to the Bay last year. And honestly, I couldn't find anything I wanted to buy, so there was no reason not to finally get it for myself. Although I did buy a ladle and a measuring cup too. Wow, I just sounded like such a mom. But I'm excited, so you should be for me. And when it comes to the movie, once again, I don't need to put that in because every streaming platform under the sun has an abundance of Christmas movies, which includes our standard Christmas Eve, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So once again, let's just pretend those are in there. My hair is doing something funny, isn't it? It looks like it in the camera. I don't know. But anyways, that means there's only 2 things left to add. Where'd the second one go? Oh, it's on the floor. I'm really glad we're not using these today, otherwise they'd be flat or explode when opened. The next item I'm putting inside the cups are some customized green soda. I think they're like green bubblegum or something. Barf, if you ask me. But the kids are gonna love them, and that's what matters. So I just took off the labels and wrapped them in a bit more of the Grinch wrapping paper and added some little printouts to make them look like they're real products. So one of them is garlic seltzer, and the other is cranky seltzer, but I am no fool. These are going in mostly because I made them and I thought they'd be funny, but realistically, my kids are not drinking pop on Christmas Eve because, well, we'd be up all night. That's just not gonna fly over here. So in reality, they're gonna open these and be like, wow, that's so cool. And I'll be like, yeah, save that excitement and enthusiasm for tomorrow, because I'm sure they're gonna taste even better then. And I think that's it for my stuff, which means we can open up the package I was sent, once again for free. And I know exactly what's in here. They're Tubbs ducks, and I was really excited because they're gonna fit the theme since it's the new Grinch line. And I say line loosely because they only created 2 characters, the Grinch here and Cindy Lou Who. And as a bonus, they've even sent along a Santa Claus. So let's open these up and check them out. By the way, I know it's gonna be a little difficult to see them from over here, so I will record some footage after and just either take over the screen or put it in the corner, and hopefully that works for us because we're starting, so it's what I'm going with. So let's just take off the lid. It's clear so we can see what character we're getting. Under that, we've got a little plastic piece on top and one below to hold our duck in place within the bathtub, which is white and says the Grinch on the front in green. And here's the duck itself. This one is clearly the Grinch. It's very green and covered in feathers all over, but of course he's not really a bird. He's some kind of Dr. Seussy monster, meaning this is all fur, and giving it the quick once over, it looks really good. He's got a nice bright orange bill in the front and some Grinchy eyes and little brows there, and I love his little tuft of hair. So that was the Grinch. I'm just gonna put it back together and pop him in a cup and move on to Cindy Lou Who. Once again, same packaging, so clear lid, plastic that holds her in place, both on top and below, and then her bathtub. And here she is, wearing a cute frilly pink nightie with a ruffled white collar and holding onto a green present in her hands with a little pink tag and a big red bow on top, which matches the one in her hair. She's got big black eyes with huge lashes and of course her little orange bill. And from what I can tell, she looks really good, excluding a little mark on the right side of her face and a tiny green mark on her left wing. But I know for a fact at this point that I can clean these up because I am a Tubbs cleaning pro. So I'll give her her lid and little sleeve back and pop her in my daughter's cup. And we can finish off with the bonus Santa. I guess me and Mike are gonna have to share this one because I didn't expect there to be a third. Wow, he's huge. So just like the others, he has plastic to hold him in on top and in the bottom. And he also comes in a tub, except his is a generic blue bathtub that just says the brand's name on the front. And here's the duck. It's Santa. He looks exactly as you would expect him to, decked out from head to toe in red, which includes his big black belt with a golden buckle. And it's a little hard to see, but I love his face. His beard is big and curly, he's got a nice white mustache there, and some thick black framed glasses. Unfortunately, there is a small black mark on the left side of his face, but once again, I'm pretty confident I can clean that up, because other than that, everything on him looks good, so I'm not too concerned. And finally, on his back, he has a huge red sack filled with presents that are green with big red bows, and although they're not the same color, I choose to believe that he is in fact tied to the Dr. Seuss line, because Cindy Lou was also holding a green present with a giant red bow. See, it all worked out. Okay, like I said, can't add that yet since I didn't wrap my cup, but we'll just pretend it's perfect. And since there's nothing left to add, that means, oh, hold on, I'm stuck. We can finish off our hot cocoa by putting a piece of cardboard on top. That way we can pretend it's actually cocoa. And true story, I was really excited to save these from my pan set because now it's gonna look perfectly fitted and professional. Check it. Then I've got some white tinsel for the top, so it looks like whipped cream. Finally, we'll just pop on our logo and pretend it's taped in place and not crooked, and we're done. Not too shabby. Okay guys, that's it for me and my super duper really delayed Christmas video that is literally coming out 3 days, is it? 2 days? Before Christmas. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all the crafts because I had a ton of fun making them. My only regret is that I didn't get it out sooner. But like I said, who am I to say whether or not you have enough time to add in a few extra crafts to decorate your home? I'm not gonna say it. If you want to say it, that's on you. Now it's time for me to go so I can see what my friend Steve over at Geekguy Prentis, like I said, I'll leave the links in the description below so you can check it out too, has coming. What? I don't really know what I just said, but go check him out. That's what I mean to say. If you know somebody who would enjoy today's video, regardless of how late it is, because maybe they love Christmas or Grinchmas, because you know, that's today's theme, I just hit myself, or just my videos in general because you want to help a sister out, the Grinch is falling, sorry, then please share this one with them. And if you enjoyed it yourself, then please make sure you remember to comment, like, and subscribe. You can let me know down below what you liked or didn't like about today's video, and if for some reason you're one of those people that have an abundance of time on your hands, other than the fact that I'm jealous, and you do choose to make something, I would love to see it. So if you have Instagram, just tag me. Or if you choose to make whatever Steve's got going on his channel, I'll make sure to leave a link to his Instagram so that you can tag him if you end up doing that. And yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave you guys. My hair is falling flat now, and I keep messing with it, so I'm gonna call it. So from my family to yours, whatever time you may be watching this, wherever you are, happy holidays if you celebrate. If you don't, happy end of December to you. Let us wave goodbye to 2021. Get out of here. No one wants you. Do not come back. And together we can walk forward, smiles on our faces, a song in our hearts, prosperity in our eyes. I'm trying to sound like a poet, like I'm really clever right now and it's not working, so I'm just gonna go. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!